All right, everybody, welcome to Extra Bases with Bristol. So we were going to talk about what we talked about back on April 8th or April 7th.
Yeah, early.
And what did you just proceed to do, Jeremy? You went through. We're going to talk about a post that I put on X from April 8th, 2024. It says, you want to hit somebody's second and have a bunch of L's, or do you want to hit somebody or want somebody to hit second and have a parade?
You know, it's funny because I'm looking at these receipts right here. Just into my wallet, and I found that. It's just a nice job.
First, let's play that.
Okay.
I think that while some of these pieces are interchangeable, you'll see the comfort level, the energy, the excitement come back once they're able to play productive baseball and win games. No one likes losing. And for all the stuff we see on, is it X? Were we calling it X?
I still call it Twitter.
Formerly known as Twitter.
For all the stuff we see on X, do you guys want to hit somebody second and have a bunch of L's, or do you want somebody second and have another parade? To me, that's just the way I look at it.
All right, so I played it again a few minutes ago before we came on, and what did Jeremy go and do?
Oh, man.
Because I thought it'd be interesting to read some of the comments from that day.
What a world.
And Jeremy then proceeded to like all of the comments. Because it is October 9th and the Astros are no longer in the postseason. Woo! And I'll put out the numbers. We've been talking about them, Jeremy. With this year, with Yordan Alvarez batting second in the regular season, this team finished with a record of 24-30. That's more L's than wins.
Ooh, child. Oh.
Tucker batting second was 16-13. So when you combine the two, and I wasn't a math major, but let's see.
Yeah.
3 carry the 1. That is 40 and 43.
Yep.
And when you batted Alex Bregman second, this team was 42-24. Oh. So let's you want to read some of these comments?
Yeah, I do. I really do.
I assume this is just a trolling hot take to get clicks. Congratulations. If not, do you understand that Yordan batting second results in more plate appearances than any other spot other than leadoff? Astros Arsenal. The Astros have a handful of problems. Yordan Alvarez hitting second is not one of them. The Astros also didn't win the World Series solely because of Yordan batting third. To insinuate the Yankees and Angels haven't won World Series based on where Judge and Ohtani bat is also asinine. Kyle says, this guy is still pushing this awful take, LAMAO. You might want to let Jeremy know regarding his first point that a team batting their best hitter second isn't why they did or did not win a World Series. Eric says, didn't know who Jeremy Booth was before this, but now I know he gives stupid takes.
How you like me now?
I love this one, Bo Moreno.
Okay.
Tell me you don't know baseball without telling me you don't know baseball.
I don't know nothing.
Yordan leads in RBIs. Yep. And you're only the second to bat first. You're only the second to bat the first time through the order. Losses have a lot to do with the batting BP.
What?
Losses have a lot to do with the BP. I don't know. Anyways.
What are you talking about?
I don't know. This dude is such a clown.
Clown shoes.
I cannot believe KHOU continues to give this idiot a platform. Garbage take, horrible take.
Yeah.
The bats aren't entirely the reason this team started 2-7, which is true. Yordan hitting second is fine. This guy, you know this one. Alex. Jason, you bring Jeremy on as some kind of expert, but he failed out of the baseball industry.
Oh, boy.
Because he refuses to adapt. Please stop giving him a voice.
This guy. Oh, man. I was having tears running down my face. I forgot about this guy. Woo. Man, what a world! This is great.
You guys are morons. Look at the
Yep.
stats. Alvarez is making you look as stupid as you sound.
Yep.
Really bad take. The team leader in homers and RBI in the right spot. May I
Can you go? You want to address that one right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because RBI,
Scoreboard up here.
I looked it up.
Yeah. Okay.
He played in like 30 more games than last year and this year.
2024.
He
Go
had
ahead.
more games and a lot fewer RBI.
It didn't work. Oh, if only this non-export moron could have seen that coming. This is the best gift in the world. Is you guys. You guys are so great. It really is. Like these are. I really was laughing as soon as you showed me this. I completely forgot about
it. Yeah, and it really wasn't playing. Like I had this in my head about a week ago, and then we started before we came on. Started looking at him, and that's where it all went off the rails.
Yeah. That whole
I have the numbers. Yordan played in 147 games this year, 114 last year.
Ooh.
This year, 86 runs driven in. Last year, 97. So again, he was 11 runs batted in fewer than the year before in 33 more games. But Jeremy, I must tell you, this past week, he's a finalist for the Hank Aaron Award as the top offensive player in Major League Baseball. Or one of the finalists. He's on the list.
Hey, did the Astros win tonight? Did they win tonight? Wait, they're at home.
No.
There's all kinds of talk now in the media about the Astros. Wait for it. Offensive production.
Chandler Rome had an article in the Athletic.
Has to talk about how they got away from their philosophy, how they got away from putting guys where they were supposed to. Didn't go as far as to say the lineup, this guy here, this guy here. What he did say is the lineup didn't work. Less runs, less on-base percentage, less everything, right? And what was the difference between the lineup last year and this year? The way
I can tell you one. They had a better hitting catcher.
Okay, that's one.
That's one difference.
The lineup construction, the way it was put together, is absolutely hand in hand with the production. So, if you want it to produce, you need to put guys together in the order that they'll be best productive. That's usually how it works. Now, I know that I learned baseball from the back of a Lay's bag. I got it. Doritos, pretzels, sitting there on my couch watching. Oh, I'm sorry, that wasn't me. That was you. As we go down that road, unfortunately, I was right. And I believe that tweet that you heard earlier, that post, no longer a tweet, right? It's a post.
An X post.
Yeah. Sounds oddly prescient when it comes to what's going on. And it's not the first time. It's, wait a minute, every time. Jason and I have been wrong, like everybody else, a few times. A few times we're wrong here and there. Most of the time, no, sir. That's a big no, sir. And right now, the Astros are looking at themselves up and down as far as what the offseason means and what their season is, looking for answers into next year, having squandered at least 10 wins, in my opinion, during the year, at least 10, not giving themselves a week off, which this team badly needed. And apparently the field did, too. Field needed rest, too. And you got down to the situation where these guys got burnt out back in the same situation, same lineup construction that they lost all those games in the postseason and were 2-out. Now, I know that might be difficult for you to accept, specifically Alex, right? I don't think Alex really has an issue with it. And whoever Alex is, even that's just, I don't know. And there's another dude who's a teacher that's just off the rails with this type of stuff. But I hope you guys learned your lesson here. I hope you learned your lesson. I hope you opened your mind and watched what's happening around baseball and realized that for some teams it works and some teams it doesn't. It's not a one size fits all. And I'm going to say this again. Ohtani and Judge don't have any rings. Well, they don't have any rings. Soto does with the Nationals, and he wasn't hitting second there, I don't think.
He might have.
I don't think so. It was Trey Turner and those guys.
Rendon?
We covered it. It was 2019. Kendrick, Rendon.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But we haven't even gotten to the best part.
No, what's the best part? Sorry.
We were doing live post game from the KHOU 11 Avenida studio. And following the second game and final game of the wild card, we brought up that stat again. I brought up that stat that I went and researched. And I said to you, what would you ask Joe Espada about this? And your question was, what kind of metrics does the organization have to show that batting Yordan Alvarez and Kyle Tucker? Second, how it benefits or is more productive than having Alex Bregman bat second. Now, I asked a similar question the night before.
You did.
And you said that Joe cut me off. I don't believe that.
Okay.
That's just not how Joe operates.
Oh.
However, what we did do, Jeremy, what did we do that night? It rhymes with, I'll just say it. We telegrammed a question.
Yeah.
So the next morning, I got up early.
Yeah.
And I went to the news conference.
Yeah.
And my question to Joe Espada, about halfway in, and, well, you know what? Instead of me saying it, let me go back to October 3rd and play it for you. Here's my question and Joe Espada's answer.
Spring training, when you moved Yordan to the number 2 hole, it was a very big story. When you look at the production you got out of that spot, I think Bregman, when he was hitting there, the team was 42 and 24. And when Tucker and Alvarez are in that role, you were 40 and 43. And I was wondering if maybe the organization had different metrics you were using to, I guess, believe that the lineup was functioning or function better with those two instead of Bregman in the number 2 hole.
Yeah, I believe when Breggy was hitting in the 2 spot, Tucker was not mostly in the lineup, correct? So if Tucker would have been healthy, he probably would have been hitting in that spot. So I do look at those numbers. My decision behind that is I'm trying to put the best players in our lineup up front to get more opportunities to hit. The more chances they get, the more chances we get to create run scoring opportunities, and that's the case. And, those 4 guys, you could stack them up where you want it, and they're productive players. Kyle Tucker is one of the best hitters in the big leagues. So is Alex Bregman. So is Yordan Alvarez and Jose Altuve. So I look at matchups. I look at ways that our guys are swinging the bats at the time, and that's how I base my decision on. So, next spring training, things might change. We'll see where we at.
All right. So now I ask you, Jeremy, what did you think of the answer? And did he answer the question?
He gave you an answer.
Oh, get closer to the mic. Come on, man.
Sorry. He gave you an answer. It's not a good answer, but it's an answer.
Kind of a non-answer.
Yeah. I mean, it's an answer. It's. I believe these guys are interchangeable.
Mm-hmm.
They're not. I believe I want to get the best hitters up at the front. Really? Is this the first day that baseball has been invented? Is this a novel concept? Of course you do. However, they're not interchangeable. They have completely different skill sets and tools, and that's not interchangeable. Different production people. And he left himself an out. Next spring training, things may change.
Well, I can tell you one reason why it may change.
Because Bregman may not be here.
Bregman might not even be there.
But let's for the sake of argument, assume that he is. Okay. Of course they're going to change because you just lost. You just gave away a bunch of games, and every metric that everybody now is going to pick up on throughout the offseason as to what the Astros front office does and what Joe Espada does with his personnel is going to look at the lineup now. I think everybody's convinced on the young pitching. We talked about ourselves. You got Brown, who has had a complete renaissance with the sinker and turned himself to a legitimate starting pitcher. You've got Ronald Blanco, enough said. You've got Arrighetti, who I still think is serviceable, but he's not going to be a front of the rotation guy. He's been okay. We'll see what happens in year 2.
I would say he was more than okay.
Yeah, but you see what happens in year 2.
Yeah.
I'm always a year 2 guy.
Sure.
Not a year 1 guy.
Well, I think the same would apply to Ronald Blanco,
Absolutely.
even though he's an advanced guy in terms of age.
Absolutely.
It will be interesting to see how he deals with this workload in a second season.
You got Presley on the roster. You got Hader on the roster. You've got to believe Neris is on the roster. You've got enough to believe in the bullpen that the guys are still going to be back there. And the question you're really going to have is, what do you do with Verlander, right? And what do you do with the injuries that are coming back in Urquidy and Garcia and certainly McCullers, should he be back at any point, right? So, and Framber Valdez, you got plenty of arms to get something going to start the year.
Juan Soto batted 4th.
He did. I'm sorry. Say it again.
Sorry, I shouldn't have been. So I'm looking at game 7, Nationals. The lineup was
when they had to win.
Oh. Trey Turner leading off, Adam Eaton batting 2nd, Anthony Rendon 3rd, Juan Soto, Howie Kendrick, Asdrubal Cabrera, Ryan Zimmerman, Yan Gomes, Victor Robles.
Sounds pretty good to me.
Anyways,
back to this.
Sorry.
You got Altuve, who's going to hit 1. You got Alvarez and Tucker, who need to hit 3, 4. And I got news for you. These numbers that these guys aren't putting up, that they are putting up or not putting up, matter, because they matter as far as getting paid. So if I'm Alex Bregman and I realize that my numbers are getting messed with, and I have a chance to be out of here, I'm gone. I'm out. Not only do I want to win games, but I got to protect myself. I can't be in a situation where, and so the fans that are screaming for that stuff, they're not understanding. If I'm a player, you want me to do what? Deuces. I'm out. When it comes to what's going on with the lineup as a whole, McCormick and Myers aren't enough. I told you Myers was an everyday guy. I've been saying that forever, and people were screaming, Jay Myers is the second coming. Not that good. He's a good player, big leaguer, good player. He's not an everyday guy. He was exposed over time. Chas McCormick had a very epically poor year.
Yeah.
As good as he's been in the past, it's a very bad year. Okay, that happens. Yainer Diaz had a good year. He's better.
Did you see the news about Dubon?
I did not.
So Dubon needs surgery.
Okay. On what?
His thumb.
Okay.
So basically for the last month, he was playing with a torn
tendon or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got Pena, who is settled in.
Had thumb surgery. To repair the UCL in his left thumb. I must say, I'm not a doctor. I didn't realize there was a UCL in your thumb.
It's news for me. But I do know that Pena settled into who we said he was when he got here. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Outside of hitting second and driving, having that 1 year, it was a monster year, and that was 21. Does that sound right?
22? That's 22. That was his rookie year. World Series MVP, ALCS MVP.
23 was a regression,
and
24 is a settle. Remember, I said it's not just the first year. You find out by year 3. 1 and 2 kind of averaged out to now. Is that about right? That's who he is. It's almost like this baseball thing. I've done it a day or two in my life. So, Pena settles into who he is. Well, that's a very productive player.
Listen, you failed out of the baseball industry because you refused to adapt.
Yep.
Go on.
That's me. I wish I
Go on.
I cry into my suit.
Go on. Anyway, because we can bring this up again.
Yeah, we can do this again, and we will. As the offseason continues. So
No, I just meant in this podcast because the next topic is something that will show once again how you failed out of the baseball industry.
That's right.
Anyways.
Pena's settled into who he is.
Are we sure about that though?
Yeah, I mean, year 3, I think that's who he is. So Pena, Jay had that 1 year where he was just dominating in the 2 spot, right? And then
it was more of a postseason that he was dominating. I don't know.
Really good year.
Huh?
He had a really good power.
He had 22 homers. Yes.
Right. Yeah, he had a good power year. I mean, he hit second in the lineup. I remember saying it was the Alex Rodriguez spot, right? He hit second in that lineup, and then I told you from the beginning, let's wait and see. In year 2, I think it was Daniel's pick that year, right? Was Pena?
Daniel Gutierrez, former colleague here at KHOU.
And then year 2, he was not the same guy.
12 homers less. 11 runs driven in less, and a 715 OPS as a rookie compared to 705 his sophomore season.
Right. So when you have this year, say it again, This year's stats?
This year, 266.
Okay.
15 homers, 70 runs driven in, 701 OPS. So the OPS was actually less.
Yeah.
Slug was a little bit better. On base percentage lower. Batting average a little bit higher.
Stolen bases?
Stolen bases 20, which is a career high.
So you're looking at somebody that should be hitting.
But
if he's
the defense wasn't as sharp, I would argue.
Right. Right now we're just talking about the offense.
Yeah.
So for me, if he's not going to hit in the 1 or 2 spot, which is fine, and because this team he doesn't do that, right? I wanted him in the 2 spot all year. Also, we talked about Bregman could go into that spot as well. They chose Bregman. Bregman did well. When you move Pena to where he should hit, you're going to get an average bat, 45 bat, 265 is an average bat in today's game. If you're going to get 15 home runs, it's always average power. He's going to get average power. As a shortstop who can play that type of defense, whether he did or not, it's another topic, but who can play that type of defense, it's a very valuable player. He's just not what you guys thought he was. This is what you're getting, and this is fine. This is more than enough to play every day in the big leagues as a shortstop. It doesn't take away from what the lineup should be and how these guys are put together. And so, the whole question started the spot is answered. The answer is we'll see what happens in March or February because I don't know what I got yet. And everybody's going to harp on this all fall, and I don't want to be the one to take the blame because he wasn't making the lineup out. Somebody else was. He was just going along with it. The difference between the Astros this year and the Astros last year isn't Dana Brown, and it's not not the players. It's whoever had the juice to put that lineup the way that it was when they wanted to, because to get somebody at the plate more often. It's not rocket science that the leadoff hitter gets more plate appearances than the second hitter, than the third hitter, than the fourth hitter. It's just not where they're most productive. So everybody got their way. They got their way, and now they're also at home. That's all I got.
But it's also interesting that game 1, which we noticed and talked about, and I asked the question, why did you move Yordan from number 2 down to number 3? And Joe said, I wanted him off his legs in case, he's on base, and move him down more to a run producing role, which that's his role. That's been his role from day one.
It's his job.
That is his job. Run producer.
Why you hit him second for less RBIs when you want to move him down to get more? Someone help me understand that. It's like, hey, we're going to do this thing to get him to the plate more often to hit solo home runs rather than using our best run producer, which he is, to hit in the 4 spot or even the 3 spot to get more opportunities. I don't get it. Besides, by the way, does anybody here feel bad with Alex Bregman in the 2 spot? I don't.
I didn't.
So
we said it right. We said it right on in this very room.
I just think it makes your lineup deeper. They won more games that way. What stats did you need? So Joe didn't really answer the question. And, Chandler's article today, as we talked about, really dove into other numbers, right? It didn't go so far as to say
chase. It was about chase rate and all that stuff.
But all that's a comfort zone.
He asked about that. So I figured it was going to be in print at some point.
Yeah, but all that stuff has to do with guys that are productive in the spots that they're in. It all has to do with guys that are in a situation where they feel like they can produce. And if they feel uncomfortable or pressure, the at-bats are going to change instead of being where they are. Nobody likes coming to the ballpark every day and not knowing what's going to happen. Nobody.
Also on Emily's tweet, Jeremy's a rage bait clown.
Yeah. I don't know her obviously at all. I can know
Damn, this dude is so bad with his takes. No wonder he's not in the game anymore.
Oh man, I'm so out of it. I know. God, I suck. Jason, I suck.
All right.
Yet I'm right.
So all this idea that you failed out of the industry and it's no wonder you're not in the game anymore.
Amazing.
Let's go to current events now. Jeremy, the CEO of New Balance Future Stars Series, had some of the best players, amateur players in North America on one field.
All picked by me.
On one field. Now, it was supposed to be at Minute Maid, but anyhow, it ended up at Globe Life Field in Arlington.
Yep.
We did the selection show together. So, the main event, 60?
60 guys.
60 guys.
Yeah.
Your staff has provided me with some names.
Okay.
Some of the most impressive guys?
Yeah.
How about this? Guys who perform.
Yeah, so before we get into
Because they're
this,
all impressive. I'm wondering the guys who performed on this stage.
so before we get into this,
Okay.
there's a lot of guys I left off of that. I went back over that, as far as my top 10, 20, 30.
Right. Well, we only have about 10 minutes.
I understand, but there's a lot of guys I left off, and I will tell you that all the players. Jason Churchill put something out. He said he made at least 2 notes by every player in the event.
Okay.
For him, that means they're all prospects. Okay, there were players that, true to form, the guys hadn't heard of before that'll go in the first or second round now.
Wait, guys that people
hadn't heard of before. Like they knew who they were, but they hadn't really seen them. There are players that enhance their stock who are already in that realm. There are players who, much like Justin Lang did, or Ricky Tiedemann did, or guys like or Tink Hence did, that put themselves on the map. And there's guys that were there like Dylan Cruz, who was already famous at the time that we ran into him. So, but I will say this: for somebody who has failed out of the game, the 2024 draft had 15.6% of the 2024 draft was Future Star Series alumni. And the way we do it is an organization. It's not one event and they're in. It's an organization. It's an organically grown player feedback system that it starts with evaluation and goes through development through a many number of factors. This year was the best year we've ever had. I say that bar none. There's a lot of reasons as to why that is. It is also the one that has me the most exhausted. I don't mind telling you that. There's been a lot of stuff. I'm going to take this hat off for this part. There's been a lot of stuff that's gone on here in this organization for a while. But this year, we accomplished every goal we wanted to, even with all the challenges. And I feel good about the kids that were there because the kids see all this stuff too, right? I mean, they see all this stuff on X. And I want to let you guys know something, all right? They feel better about where they are by watching the stuff that these guys throw out there. They feel better about being here. They feel better about what they're learning. And this weekend, man, they showed it. They executed. They drove the baseball. They had strikeouts when they needed to from on the mound. They played defense. They turned double plays. They left their feet. They stayed on their feet. They had catchers threw guys out. We had like 10 sub 2.0 in-game pop times. I had never seen that. And all we did was correct some bad footwork and bad direction for them and tell them to get off the one knee, by the way, and it worked. So, Corey Kohler actually said, San Jack assistant, he said, I watched them on one knee for a game, and it was awful. Pass balls left and right. And then there was 4 games they were not allowed to do it. That's 4 games of series, and the difference was ridiculous. It was really noticeable, right? But a lot of hard contacts, game-winning walk-offs. We had 2 ties. We don't tie. We had 2 ties because we had errorless baseball played. Out of 60 different players, we had 8 errors in 5 games. It's 45 innings, 43 innings. No, it's 44 innings. We played in 8 innings the last time. Guys that don't know each other, guys that don't know how to, or they do, but not how to play together like that. They had 5 games that came together, and it was phenomenal. I managed one of the teams. It was important for me to manage one of the teams this time. I did. Partially to make sure the culture was moving forward the right way, and partially to because I know the personnel, right? Bobby Evans was there. He was charting, got some stuff, talked about it. He's in the photo. Jim Duquette was doing some TV for the playoffs, but it was really good, man. It was a really talented event. It was our best one. And that's hard. That's hard with some of the guys that come through here.
All right, let me throw out some names. Joe Philip Guzman.
Yeah, Little Altuve actually is who he's called. He's
Yes.
a pretty good player. Drove the baseball, played left field, second base, played some short. Can really do it all. He can throw, he can run, steals bases, but he's good. He's a hitter.
Waylon Walsh, what did he show you there?
He's Chipper Jones, man. It's Chipper Jones.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know. It's Chipper Jones.
That was a
light.
1-1.
I know. It's Chipper Jones light. When Way believes that he can do it, he's going to do it. He can pick it up. He can play short. He can play third. He'll end up at third base because of the size and the levers, but he has he's a switch hitter who's far better from the left side, drives the ball to all fields, and has 60 power.
How about Zach Malvazio?
Man, it's just Jeff Francoeur. This kid's man. I don't know how people are sleeping on this guy. This is insane. And maybe they're not now, but all this guy does is produce. It's 90-92 on the bump. It's power. It's foot speed. It's play center field. All this guy does is get it done.
Dylan Causey.
94-95.
Woo.
breaking ball, hammer curve ball, strength velocity. Took a big step from the time we saw him in the summer. He was 90, 91. He's another guy that's taking a jump. You look up in May, he's going to be 90, 598. It's real. And it's a starter package. It maybe doesn't end up there, but it's a starter package you send out.
Jorian Wilson.
Man crush guy.
Cliff Floyd. He's my Cliff Floyd.
Swung and missed a little bit at pitches he should swing and miss at, but he swung.
Mm-hmm.
He was looking to hit. Guys like Jorian, even though he's athletic and can run, they got to drive the baseball. He had a couple of balls to center field, and Globe Life is a cavern, right? It's a big ballpark that would have left at most places, and he didn't even hit them well. Scouts that were really talking about how he stayed inside the ball and was able to use the whole field. And as the weekend went on, he stayed on the breaking ball. It's good.
How about Casaliba?
Adria's a dude, man.
Adria Casaliba.
Yeah, it was up to 97. He was in the strike zone. He was a little bit scattered, but baby-faced kid. Still a long way to go. 3-pitch mix and has some upside.
All right. Well, it's this is what you like. You like real-time stuff.
One more.
No. Oh, there's one more.
Landon Schaefer. I got to talk about Landon.
Okay,
Schaefer.
Landon Schaefer. Why was he a late ad?
He was a late ad
because he's not on my list, and that's why I didn't have it.
Late ad.
Okay, late ad. So where's Schaefer from?
He's from Arkansas.
Okay,
and he's going to the University of Arkansas.
Okay,
allegedly.
No,
allegedly.
He's committed. He's committed.
This kid is a first rounder. This kid was the most outstanding player in the event, and the guys I
he's the most outstanding player in the event. You guys vote for that?
Yeah, we did. But
okay,
it was my final selection with the entire staff.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I didn't see that.
Yeah, he was most outstanding player of the event.
6'3", 175, shortstop, right-handed pitcher.
And plays center field and left field, too. Plays all over the field. Can hit, has power, can run, can steal bases, baseball instincts, and wants to play. Man, this kid's hunting for a game. He's got all the tools in the bag of things he can do. It was fun to be around him. He's clubhouse makeup. And he's the type of guy that continues to burst on the scene. You look up and we're pick 9. All these guys are good, man. They're all really good players. But what separates them isn't just the tools. They get the most out of their tools, and they get skills. These guys got to the plate, and it was fun to watch. You didn't want to miss at bats. Guys were bunting for hits and stealing bases and picking it up and turning double play. It was awesome. It was one of the best weekends of baseball that I've had in quite some time. And I even told him, I said, man, this game's such a business all the time. This weekend, Jay, it felt like a game. For 3 days, it felt like a game again. The light went back on in my eyes, and I was like, man, I cannot believe this is what it is. And they invigorated me.
You needed it.
I did. They invigorated it. And the underclass elite did too, and the kids did at Fresh 50 and underclass premier. But Jason, this weekend woke up that little boy in me again that fell in love with the game a long time ago, just being part of that, because they were that good and they were that fun. And I owe all the players in our organization who are prospects, because they all are, a thank you for it. Thank you for it, because man, it was special.
All right, let's end with this. Real-time reaction.
Okay.
Because you went back and reposted that, you've gotten some responses.
Okay.
This one is: the lineup construction didn't have anything to do with the Astros pitching staff having the highest whip in baseball. I don't know if that's true or not. I assume it is. Hader had a 3.80 ERA. Presley and Abreu were top 10 in blown saves.
And look, denial is a thing. It's okay. You can believe what you want to believe. Denial is a thing.
If the lineup is better constructed, it's less stressed on
the
pitchers.
bullpen. Yeah.
And then this one, and I'll have to show you. Juan, funny that a couple months prior to your clip, this team with their best hitter in the 2-hole had a parade. And then he wrote receipts, and he's showing a photo of a thing of Corey Seager, and I know where you're going. I think I know where you're going to go.
Yeah, so Juan works at the Rangers Youth Academy, and he's really big on this.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
Oh, so you know him?
I know him. Yeah,
okay.
And he's really big on this analytical deal. As I said, it doesn't work for everybody. By the way, who else was in that lineup that year? I don't know. What was the guy that hit third? What was his name?
That was a pretty stacked lineup.
Is it Garcia come to mind?
Yeah, I mean, he was the MVP.
Yeah, and so Corey Seager hits there to get better pitches ahead of the guy Garcia. Who had behind Garcia? Was it Josh Young? Yeah, so it's not the same lineup.
No.
Okay, and we can't compare apples to oranges. You got to compare apples to apples. The reality is it didn't work. And they're home right now. By the way, the Rangers, as much as I love being there, are also home.
Yeah, that's why you're able to use the stadium.
That was exactly right.
Well, this was fun.
I had a good time.
We started off Yeah, we started off with a good laugh.
We sure did. It was a lot of fun. It'll still be fun.
It will be fun.
What do you got there? Anything?
I'm just looking at the Rangers lineup from last year.
What do you got?
Hold on. I got to get there. Hold on. Probably just go I go championship series. How's that?
Mm-hmm.
I'll go championship series. People line up. The game that we were at. We were all these games.
Oh, yeah.
My wife said to me, wow, this is the first October since I've been here, because she moved to Houston later,
Right.
that you'll be home for October.
Yeah.
And I said,
it's weird, isn't it?
It is very weird. Actually, in this lineup, you had for Game 7, it was Simeon, Seager, Evan Carter, Garcia, Garver, Heim, Lowe, Josh Young, and then Tavares.
So that's how they should hit. Yeah. Huh.
Well, hey, you like the real-time reaction?
I do. Yeah.
And you got it. All right, everybody. Next time, we will likely not go back to responses from April. Instead, we will read the responses under this video, because I'm sure once this is posted, this will get similar responses.
Oh, yeah.
Game 6 was Simeon, Seager, Carter, Garcia, Garver, Heim, Lowe, Young, Tavares. So
there you go.
And that was a 9-2 Rangers win that game. All right, everybody. For Jeremy, I'm Jason. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And, of course, thanks for being part of this Extra Bases experience when we're able to do it. Take care.